I built this cat tree using scrap pieces of wood I had from my old projects, and I think I figured out a solution to keep the cats interested in the tree. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I built this cat tree, going step by step showing all the tools I used in my build process to see if I can build a cat tree that's fun for them to play with, useful so they stop scratching furniture, and interesting enough so they won't stop playing with it. There's just one small problem though. I'm allergic to cats. Yep. Luckily I know someone that has 4 cats, so I'll be able to give them this cat tree once I have it fully built out. Now in order to find an interesting design, I ended up googling a whole bunch of cat trees, and I landed on this one tower design which I find works best to be able to scratch the posts and have a place to sit on. Now all that's left is just to gather all my scrap wood pieces and get started on with this build. I'm starting off by cutting out the pieces for the middle part of the tree. Now these middle parts are actually been cut into smaller pieces, and it's gonna have a hollow void in the middle of it. I did this so that it can actually save a little bit on the weight. It takes off about 3 or 4 pounds, which is actually perfect, just in case you want to move this cat tree around, it's not too heavy. All that's left now is just glue up all these pieces together, making sure they're as straight as possible to make it a little bit easier when I start shaping this part. And honestly, this turned out pretty good, just putting random pieces together. And the pieces didn't slip around, which is going to make it really easy to clean up with my table saw. I had to do it in 2 passes only because it was too large for my blade to fit in one. And to close everything up, I just have to cut out 2 pieces that's just slightly bigger than the posts I have now, and then glue both sides down, making sure that there's no gaps in it. And since the pieces were cut oversized, what I can do later on is just flush trim with my router to make sure that it's a perfect straight edge. Now at the time I only had the 6 DeWalt clamps, so I actually had to buy an extra 8 clamps just to glue this up. So it definitely took a lot of clamps, so I'm happy that everything got glued up properly. Sounds like there's a hollow spot in the middle of this. Weird. Now that it's all cleaned up, I can move on to the most fun part of the build. This is Cecil rope, and I spent the next 40 minutes wrapping this rope around this wooden pillar. Now had I known it was going to take this long, I probably would have got the pre-made maps and just glued that around. Now I was trying to wrap it as tightly as possible, clamping every few inches or so to make sure that it didn't unravel, and by the end of it my hands were burning, but at least I had it wrapped up, and now I can move on to making the base and the top of this build. Now the next part I'll be working on is the top for this cat tree. Now what I'm doing here is just taking 3 pieces of 3/4 inch plywood, and then I'm cutting them down into 11-inch squares and then laminating them together to get a thicker piece of wood. Now with the glue on all the pieces, the last thing you have to do is just clamp down all the corners and make sure there's enough even pressure to get a good lamination for this. And once everything's dried, I can take these pieces back to the table saw and clean up all the edges and get them cut down to their final size. Now this square alone will look boring for the top base, so what I'm doing with my router is just adding a 45-degree chamfer to it, just so there's a little bit of a depth to this top base, and then after just to sand it down and clean it up to make sure it looks nice and smooth. I'm knocking off all the hard edges on this just to make sure that no one gets cut when going on this cat tree. I didn't work on the cat tree for a while, so all we have to do is fast forward a few weeks and we end up at March 9th. And this is the day I finally decided to tackle the base for the cat tree. So to laminate the pieces of plywood, I'm using a 2x4 and just knocking out the edges with my hand plane. What this is going to do, this is going to apply pressure to the middle of the board, just to make sure I have even pressure throughout the glue up. And now with the slight rock, it means that there's more material in the middle, so when I clamp down the edge, it'll provide pressure down the middle of the board. And laminating 5 layers of 2 feet by 2 feet plywood is by far a very stressful situation. There's so much glue that has to go on, there's so little time before it sets. And this is my biggest glue up I did to date, and it was by far one of the hardest, especially on my back. And it's a good thing I got those extra clamps because they definitely came in handy. But now with this base finally done, once I remove all the clamps, I'm left with one giant piece I can cut down to make 4 separate bases. And to add another first to my list, I'm cutting down a 2 foot by 2 foot board on my table saw. And again, this is too big for my table saw to do it in one pass, so I actually have to do it in 2 passes, hoping that everything lines up when I flip it over. Now you may notice I'm cutting this into 4 squares, but I only have 1 cat tree done. Now this cat tree was going to be the first of actually 4 cat trees for this build, and it was actually going to be a cat tower, and this is just going to be the smallest tower of the cat tree. And I'm actually keeping the other bases for the other ones, so stay tuned for that video if it comes out in the future. For this cat tree though, I have all the pieces I need for it, the top, the middle, and the base. So I just have to attach them all together and add the special thing at the top to make sure the cats keep playing with this cat tree. Now to attach everything together, I got this Milescraft drill press, and what I'll be doing is drilling in holes so I can put threaded inserts into the base and the top. I want to do this instead of gluing it in, just in case I had a problem with the cat tree, say I need to rewrap the wire or the sisal rope. I want to be able to do it easily, no problem, without having to deal with all the glued mess, so I can easily use an Allen wrench to take everything off and then replace anything I need to fix on this cat tree. And the last thing I'm adding is just a feather on the bottom of the cat tree for them to play with. But with this, the cat tree is all done, and I can finally see if the cats will love it. And now for my secret weapon that's going to keep the cats playing with this cat tree, and with a drum roll please, an Amazon box. Now since I don't have cats, I don't know if this is entirely true, but from all the videos I've seen online, cats really do love boxes for some reason. So I want to test out randomly putting this box on this cat tree every now and then to see if the cats are going to stay interested with it. I built a plywood base for this box so I could screw it in with my bolts, and I heard that cats can see blue. I'm not sure if this is true or not, so I got a blue rug for them just so they're not sitting on some bolts. But now it's time to test it out with the cats to see if this is actually true. I tested it a few times and the cats have gone to the box every single time, so I think it's good for me to set this up. So for the next 30 seconds, just enjoy all these cat clips I got from the cat tree. Well, that's gonna do it for this cat tree video, and thank you guys so much for watching. I had to take a lot of allergy pills when I went to see those cats, and yeah, at least they liked the tree, so that's all that mattered. But anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next video.